Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. Today guys, I'll be checking out this interesting video from Walsh, and it's titled Little Nas X Just Slide Down a Pole to Even More Deranged Music. And you guys, I'm super excited as always. If you're here to subscribe to this channel, please consider subscribing, give this video a massive thumbs up, comment, share, and all that good stuff. And without much ado, let's see what this video is all about.
Well, you probably remember the alleged musical artist Lil Nas X, real name Montero Lamar Hill. He came onto the scene 5 years ago, marketing himself primarily to young children, performing at elementary schools and singing duets with Elmo. Then, after going out of his way to amass this audience of minors, Hill switched course dramatically and came out as gay, and then started releasing ridiculously vulgar and graphically sexual songs and videos. Only a year after dancing on stage with the Sesame Street gang, Hill put out a music video where he performs a lap dance on Satan. So that kind of gives you an idea of the pivot here. There is, of course, nothing especially new and certainly nothing interesting about a pop star who makes obscene and deviant and stupid music. But Hill set himself apart as an especially creepy, predatory scumbag by taking the time to lure in an audience of elementary-aged children before making the pivot to the obscene and deviant and stupid stuff. Well, I should amend that, I guess, because his original single, Old Town Road, was definitely extremely stupid, but it wasn't overtly deviant or obscene. He saved that rebrand for later. And now Lil Nas X has reemerged, promising a new single that will be released on Friday titled J Christ. As you've already predicted, given the title, Hill is going the sacrilege route this time around as he desperately begs for our attention. Yeah. In the lead up to his crappy song coming out, he's put out a bunch of blasphemous images and promos. In one ad, he is seen crucified on a cross. Here's what that looks like. So there's that. In another, he is again dressed as Jesus while scarfing down the Eucharist and taking shots of communion wine. And then once again, he's on the cross, as you can see in this promo image, where he's on a cross being hoisted up. Don't worry, though, as the media insists, Lil Nas X is not trying to make a mockery of Jesus. Just because he's mocking Jesus doesn't mean he's trying to make a mockery of Jesus, you see. People.com reports Lil Nas X is leaning back into biblical imagery for his new era. On Monday, the Grammy winner unveiled the cover artwork for his upcoming single, J Christ, featuring himself resembling Jesus on a cross, shortly before clarifying he's not looking to offend any religious group with the photo. Quote, "My new single is dedicated to the man who had the greatest comeback of all time," wrote Lil Nas X, 24 on X, alongside the J Christ cover image and announcement. The Old Town Road performer then quoted a previous post claiming that his upcoming single features a very beloved pop star and said it was God. After reposting some fans' tweets expressing excitement for his new music, Lil Nas X took to the social media platform once again, less than an hour after sharing the J Christ single cover, to clarify his motive. The crazy thing is, nowhere in the picture is a mockery of Jesus. He wrote, "Jesus' image is used throughout history in people's art all over the world." Lil Nas X continued, "I'm not making fun of S. Y'all just got to keep trying to gatekeep a religion that was here before any of us were even born. Shut the F up."
Wow. Wow, you guys, this is very, very despicable, because I don't know what he plans to achieve from what he's doing, because he could have done any other music and still get the amount of traction he's getting right now, but he chose to mock Christ. He chose to provoke the Christians. Let me know what you guys think about this video. Do you think that he went too far with this particular song? And do you also think that if you have done another song, it wouldn't have gained this much traction? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and let's continue watching.
Well, yes, it's true. Jesus has been depicted in art for hundreds of years, but historically, he was depicted in a way meant to venerate and glorify him. There was a lot of Jesus-related art being produced in Europe in the 14th century, for example, but here's the thing. If you went back in time and showed people an image of yourself on the cross in 14th century Europe, or you showed yourself pounding shots of communion wine, well, you're going to have to explain that to the Inquisition, and it's probably not going to go well for you. And that's because this is obviously meant to ridicule Christianity and blaspheme Christ. And that's why, you know, when I say that it won't go well for you, I mean that you'll be burned at the stake, just to be clear. But Hill, as usual, even though he, we don't have an inquisition these days, lacks the courage to stand by his own provocations. He's a coward along with being a sacrilegious degenerate, and so he always does these things with a little bit of a wink and a nod and a little bit of a, I didn't really mean it offensively. Now, speaking of cowardice, that's the first point that many people make about this sort of thing. The first thing you can't help but notice is that whenever one of these pitiful attention whores decides to grasp for relevance by blaspheming a religion, they always choose the same religion. You know, if you get all of your information about the world from Hollywood films and pop music, you might come to the conclusion that there's only one religion that exists on the entire planet. Because there's only one that attracts their mockery and derision.
Yeah,
but as it turns out, there are many other religions, including ones with billions of adherents. Yet these spineless frauds who want to be seen as bold and transgressive are very careful to only transgress the one world religion that you can get away with transgressing. The one you're allowed to disrespect while still being celebrated in the mainstream and accepted by our cultural elites and everything else. You know, there's one religious group that you are allowed to offend without suffering any consequence whatsoever. And these brave and daring artists are very careful to stay safely inside that particular box.
Yeah, they would have tried another one.
Well, first, because people like Hill are, again, fraudulent cowards. They want to build a transgressive brand without doing or saying anything that actually is transgressive in our culture. You know, I'm not sure there's much value in being shocking and offensive just for the sake of being shocking and offensive. But I know for sure that...
Wow, you guys, Walsh is making a whole lot of sense. And it is true that the only religion people tend to mock and feel that there are no consequences is Christianity. That is because our God is such a merciful God. No matter what you do, when you feel sorry for whatever it is that you have done, He always have mercy on you. And they know that at the end of the day, they can go into their houses, they can go into their closet and cry their heart out. And at the end of the day, God is going to have mercy upon them. And why do you think that people always make mockery of Christianity out of all the religions in the world? Leave it in the comment section down below. And you guys, let's wrap this video up.
But I know for sure that there's absolutely zero value in pretending to being shocking and offensive while studiously avoiding doing anything that our society actually deems shocking and offensive. You know, it's one thing to be a shock jock. It's another thing to be a neutered, ballless little puppy pretending to be a shock jock. And that's the category that Lil Nas X falls into. But I must admit, we as Christians are not blameless here. The other reason that Christianity is the only mockable religion is that we have allowed it to be the only mockable religion. You know, Hill will dress up like Jesus and pretend to be crucified, making a parody out of our most sacred image. But we all know that he would never in a million years even consider dressing up like Muhammad, for example. And why is that? Well, that's because Muslims simply will not tolerate that sort of disrespect. They just won't tolerate it. And that's why it doesn't happen. And there was a time, many centuries ago, when Christians wouldn't tolerate it either. But then Christianity in the West became infected with the disease of liberalism, and most of our leaders started preaching that tolerance is our greatest virtue. Never mind the fact that Jesus Christ himself never once called us to be tolerant, never talked about it. And in fact, demonstrated forceful, even violent intolerance when he drove the money changers out of the temple with a whip. But that story, like so many others in both the Old and New Testament, isn't mentioned very often by our priests and pastors. Instead, they preach about some new, modern, totally invented version of Jesus who, from the way they tell it, would likely be a corporate DEI administrator if he was walking the earth today. We have become a weak and impotent church that tolerates ridicule. And so that's exactly what we get. But whatever the reason for this dynamic, the fact is that there is nothing provocative or new or bold or interesting about somebody making fun of Christianity or engaging in anti-Christian sacrilege. Pop stars have been doing that for 40 years. Marilyn Manson was portraying himself as crucified back in the 90s. Modern artists were submerging crucifixes in tanks of urine in the 80s. You're not being subversive with this stuff. You're just jumping on a bandwagon that's been chugging along for decades. Now, it may be blasphemous and objectionable, but it's also played out and boring. And that's where we're left in our culture of decadence. These people have been trying to shock us with the same tired routine since the Reagan administration. And a guy like Lil Nas X, he has no musical ability to speak of, no artistic integrity, no skill or talent of any kind, and so he relies on empty provocation. But even his provocations are trite and derivative. We're not shocked anymore by the profane and the vulgar, because we've seen it a million times. We are swimming in this sewage every day of our lives. He's just adding another bucket, and no one even notices anymore. And that is why Lil Nas X is, again, today, canceled.
Wow, you guys, that was very interesting. I love to listen to Matt Walsh analyze a particular trend or topic, because I love his sense of humor. He doesn't even know it, but this man makes me laugh every single time. And as for Lil Nas X, I don't think he has anything surprising anymore up his sleeve, and he just have to go through this route and thinking that it's going to shock the world. But I can bet you that the world is not shocked at all. Let me know what you guys think about this video so far. I really had fun reacting to Matt Walsh. If you guys totally enjoyed watching, give this video a massive thumbs up, comment, share, and all that good stuff. And I'll see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.